Are you defining yourself by your job title? Is your self-worth completely tied to your job title and your profession? Is your whole life wrapped up in your career? Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Jessica Louie, and I coach burned out pharmacists and healthcare professionals to reset their lives, simplify, and learn how to incorporate life-work alignment into everyday life. Today, I'm so excited to talk about this thing we call defining ourselves by our job titles. Have you ever thought about your success relies on your job title, your career, your accolades, your credentials? I know, I've been there myself. So we're going to talk about how can we let go of this? Why is it such a big problem in our society and in our healthcare world? We're more than our job title. We're more than this. We don't need to define success by job titles and careers. We're losing sight of our individual visions and how we live our lives. And this can lead to identity crisis. This can play into burnout. This can play into our journey to reset our burnout. There's a big difference between giving your best and trying to be the best. Do you agree? That simple word change of giving your best versus trying to be the best all the time, everywhere, every day. When was the last time you introduced yourself to someone new? Probably happens quite often, right? What was the first question they asked you? Probably it was, "Hi, my name is," so what do you do? The prime word in that question is, what do you do? Think about this. Did you answer with, "I'm a pharmacist, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon, I'm a nurse"? Whatever that is, that what is, if it's in healthcare or non-healthcare, did you answer with your job title or your career, the profession you work in? Let's take a moment to think about, why is this a problem? Maybe we answer this way because it's easy. We know what we do, but do we know why we do it, how we do it? Maybe you add in how you do the things you do. From your experiences to your skill sets, trying to stand out from the crowd by the how answer in addition to the what answer. And where does this leave us when we answer questions like this? A lot of times, it leaves us with this comparison syndrome of defining ourselves by our job titles, our profession, our career paths, our credentials, right? So many people are looking at, what are those letters after your name? How many do you have? How many more can I accumulate this year? Is that really going to tell us anything about you as a person? A lot of times we begin to tie our happiness to what we do or how we do it. And that can lead us down this path of high stress and burnout. So how can we start flipping this script and this mindset and answer this question differently about defining ourselves with something other than what we do or how we do it? Let me tell you a little bit more about why this was so important to me to talk about today, because I was there. I used to do this all the time. I used to define myself by my job title, by my credentials, by my accolades, and that led into my burnout path. So when someone asked me, "What do you do?" I would lead with, "I'm a pharmacist. I'm a critical care pharmacist." Many times people didn't know what that was, so then I would talk about how it's an ICU intensive care unit of a hospital and how I'm not a drug dispenser at your local drugstore. I would also lead with, "I'm an assistant professor. I teach at a school of pharmacy." And where did that lead me? It led me down this path of always thinking about my job, of always defining myself by my job title, about my career, how I measured up to those words, what people thought when I answered that way. My life became my job title. My life became my profession. Do you feel that way too? I perceived that's all that people cared about. That was my perception. And a lot of times that might be your perception too. You might be putting people in a box. You might be putting yourself in a box when you are talking about what you do all the time, instead of why you do things, why you wake up in the morning. And a lot of times this might play into the cynicism that you may have with burnout. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you go over to this video about what is burnout and the characteristics of the burnout syndrome. So what else happened? I continually strived to be the best. And that's not always healthy, right? We don't need to be the best people. We need to give our best self to the situation, and everyone is going to be so different. Everyone has such unique skill sets in life. So how can we finally start changing this what we do or how we do things into why we do things? I went through this transformation back in 2015 as I sought advice from Simon Sinek and his team on Start With Why, went to their training programs and everything. And getting really clear on your why and your purpose and your values will be so helpful in disconnecting your job and your title from your self-worth and your definition of yourself. We realize that our why and our bigger purpose is something that we cannot fully accomplish. And I got really clear on my why. So when someone asks me, what do you do? I answer right away with my why of I help people find confidence to live joyful and intentional lives because we all have unique skill sets and meaning to bring to this world. That's why I get up in the morning. You see that it can never fully be accomplished. It's not tied to money or family or loved ones. It's tied to this greater purpose, this greater vision. And then that sparks more interest and more discussion before we can get into our how statements and then what we do. So leading with our why can lead to deeper conversations, deeper level of connections, deeper level of relationship building. And then we'll start to untangle our job title and definition of self-worth from that. Because I'm not tied to my job. And that's why when people lose their jobs, they can go into a depressive state. They can spiral into burnout, right? Because they don't know how to identify themselves anymore. It's that identity crisis that we don't need to have because we're not the mother, father, sibling, pharmacist, healthcare professional that we may have put ourselves in a box to be, right? We don't need to define ourselves by anyone else, by any outcome that we may have in life or money related in life. We can define ourselves by a bigger purpose, our why statement. And if you're not clear on this, I would love to help you along with your journey. You can click the workshop and resources below to really get clear on how to stop defining yourself by your job title and start defining yourself by a different measure of self-worth and self-reflection. You can also watch these videos on burnout and simplifying your life and take action today, my friends. Until next time, spark joy.